It's okay. Hello, people, and welcome back. I am so excited for today's guest. I harass her via DM a lot, so thank you. Stephanie Sabbe, please introduce yourself and tell the people how fabulous you are.
Oh, goodness. I don't know about that. I am Stephanie, and don't feel badly about saying my last name wrong. Everyone does.
What is it?
It's like Abby with an S. So we say Sabby, but I have.
Okay, Sabbe.
Yeah, tell me that we say it wrong, but I just married into it. I say it how they say it. So it's Stephanie Sabbe, and the firm is Sabbe Interior Design. And we're in Nashville.
Okay. And how long have you been in business?
A little over 10 years.
Okay. Oh, okay. So let's get into this. So when you started, it was just you. How did you get your first client? And when did you say, yeah, this is it, I'm going to do it?
So I went kind of the traditional route and majored in interior design in college and graduated and did 5 years. Was it 5 years? Yeah, with commercial architecture firms. So that is where I kind of, I always say when you're right out of school, it's kind of like breaking a horse, but that is how I was broken in, which was a good way. I mean, it was a very like strict, systematic environment. So I learned a lot of, good CAD standards and, those types of things. But anyway, so 2009, we were living in Memphis and my husband matched for residency in Boston. Mm-hmm. So we packed up and moved to Boston, and I thought I was going to get, some great job at some amazing big city firm. I'd always wanted to live in a big city, and no one was hiring. It was the recession. I sent out like 65 resumes, crickets. And then I ended up getting a contract position with a guy in Cambridge, and his firm was small. And he kind of did a lot of things, like he took out his own trash, and I was like, whoa, that's like crazy. I'd worked at firms where like cleaning people came in at night and
yes.
went away.
Oh, we're the cleaning people? We're the cleaning people.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, like maybe I can do this. And so when that stint was over, I just went and got a business license. And it was kind of the era of blogging, like everyone blogged.
Right.
And honestly, the thing that gave me the courage to be, and I'm not Mormon, but there are so many Mormon mom entrepreneurial people. And in that era, it was like the lady who started Freshly Picked Moccasins, who's now like in Forbes, they were all getting started. And so I was like, this is amazing. I want to try this. So I did it. And I had just a couple clients from the previous job that were commercial. And that just turned into more work. So it was pretty organic.
That's cool. So then how did you get back from, all right, so then you were working for someone in Boston. Did you ever eventually get a client on your own in Boston, or it wasn't until you came back?
Yeah, so the way it went down was I had a business license and I was like, I'm a business, but I didn't have a client. And then I was literally sitting in the IKEA parking lot one day crying because I couldn't afford to buy anything from IKEA. My husband was a resident. He made no money and I was unemployed. And a guy from that 6-month stint called and he was like, I'm moving to China. Do you want to take this small project with Harvard, which was an office space, which is what at the time I knew best. And so I took that. And then someone from that office asked me to do their house. And then it was kind of, kept bouncing from there. The blog definitely helped. I'm not from Boston. I had no contacts. So just kind of putting stuff out on the internet saying I own my own company, people believed me.
No, that's cool though. And yeah, I could tell you're not from Boston. There's a different accent with Bostonians. No offense, Bostonians. I'm from Long Island. So there you go. There's that accent. Okay, so then now you leave Boston and then you go back, or you move to, right? How did you get started there?
Yeah, so it was very humbling to come. Nashville's become a hot city in the past 7 years. And I honestly had no clue. I kind of thought it might be the case because when I used to tell people in Boston I was from Nashville, they would be like, oh, do you like country music? Or like, oh, do you guys wear shoes and stuff like that? And towards the end of our stint there, people would go, oh, Nashville, I've always wanted to go there. And I was like, really? And so when I moved back, residential design, Pinterest had become a thing. People were doing residential design. It was popular. When I was in right out of college, it was kind of like what grandmas did. Like I didn't know anybody who did residential design out of college. And So I thought they would be like, ooh, Boston designer. And they weren't. No one needed me, like Nashville fine. And so I really kind of had to start all over. I just took clients that, I knew from college and acquaintances like that. And then just basically built up. I had a feature in House Beautiful, and it's about 6 years ago. And that definitely helped kind of at least let people know, like, I live in Nashville now and I do design. So.
Well, how do your clients find you? Because I feel like they're all of a sudden, like you said, Nashville has become a hot spot. A girlfriend of mine moved from California to Nashville. One moved up here down to Nashville. Like everyone's moving there and they're all designers. So I'm like, how many of y'all are there?
Oh, are they designers? Yeah.
Yes.
So the atmosphere has totally changed. I think it's the Southern way to be competitive with one another and like see the next person as your competitor. And it's something has changed in the past like 4 years. Like I'm on a group chat with a bunch of interior designers locally, and it's a really transparent, like vulnerable sharing group. And that is not the Nashville that I grew up in. And I think it's just, there's so much work here. People are not your competition. Like if someone else, they weren't meant to be your client. So
100%.
there's no longer kind of that, and if you don't get a job, I mean, I've interviewed against like good girlfriends here, and it's kind of like, whatever, if they went with you, they weren't meant for me. It's just not as big of a deal. At least I don't feel like it's a big deal. There's a ton of work. So yeah, people can move to Nashville. There's plenty of work.
No, that's cool. No, and I agree with you. What's for me is for me, and what's for you is for you. I can't be like, oh, they should have picked me. No, they didn't. They picked you. Next, move on. The right person for me is coming for me. And besides, if you did get them and you weren't supposed to, it's just a headache.
Right.
It's a massive headache, and it's not worth it. How do your clients find you? And do you stay? I know you don't stay just in Nashville. It seems like you have projects all over. How do they find you?
I've always loved doing projects all over. I think like I just took a trip to Boston this week, and like 2 of my kids absolutely lost their mind on my way out. So now I'm like, maybe I don't want to do out of town for a while.
I saw that on Instagram.
It like broke my heart. Yeah. They usually are like, bye, but not this week. I find clients all different ways. I feel very lucky to have gotten a lot of blurbs or inclusions in press, like printed press. And from right out of the gates, I had something in Boston Globe, and it just is like really, really helped my career. And I know it's luck. Like I didn't even have the portfolio to support it. I think I am my own best agent. Like I'm not afraid to call someone and be like, hey, I would love to be included in this, or hey, I did this one tiny bedroom, but it uses whatever, this color that I think would be really great in the magazine. And so that has helped me propel my career for sure. And then Instagram has been really helpful the past like 3 years. I built a dollhouse last year, which is so random, but I built this dollhouse literally in like 10 days in my basement, and I filmed the whole thing. And the amount of calls I've gotten this year that people are like, I saw you build that dollhouse. And I'm like, I didn't know, that many people are watching, but I think people feel like they can get to know you from social media now. And so I don't know, we just have had a really good run with that as well. It's not the most professional account in the world, but you know what you're getting.
Oh, it's a great account. Your account is amazing. I love your account. And I love that you only follow 19 people. Like when you said you had to get, listen, people, she don't even follow me. It's fine. Listen, but I understand, because every night I sit in bed and I go, I'm going to be like her. Like, I'm just going to start unfollowing people, because it is anxiety driven for me. And I'm like, I don't need this.
I know. And I hate that I am that type of person. But once I kind of named it and was like, I'm not good at this. And I just did that. And I did everybody at once. I literally only follow people that are like in the UK, or someone just like,
I see that.
Not on my radar at all. Like they don't even know I exist. And part of it is just how, and I do this, and I've realized like maybe I should not, but sometimes when you're thinking you're looking at design or floral arrangement, and someone kind of switches topics and puts that, and it like triggers you to feel something. You're like, that's not what I signed up for. Like I was just on here trying to look at pretty things. And then I also struggle with like being jealous of certain things. Like I'll be content with my work and what we're doing, and then I'll see something that someone else is doing and be like, they have better clients than me, or they have more opportunity or better budgets or whatever the name of it is.
Right.
Hey, my friend Julie just walked in. Speaking of like,
no problem. No, but it's very real. I don't think people, like, you can look and you'll think, we all call it the highlight reel, that, oh my God, they're doing amazing. Oh my God, they just got a yacht project. I've been wanting a yacht project. Have you really been wanting a yacht project? No, not really. You're just like, oh my God, I'm missing out. And you just never know what's going on for anyone else. And so, like I tell a lot of my friends here, head down, focus on your business. And that's all you should be doing. Don't get caught up, because it can easily trigger you. And then the other thing too is, I have a lot of friends who, I'm in the tri-state area, and they're like, well, you're up there, it's easier for you to get into the magazines because you're at all these parties. And I was like, no, it's the same amount of stress, whether you're here, the Midwest, or the West Coast. Like, we're all still fighting for position to get into a magazine, or to be interviewed, or to be on a podcast. So you just, but I respect that. You're down to 19, I think. I'm like, go.
I thought about moving some of that, because I was like, my feed never changes. Like, it's always the same pictures, because it's not even people that post very often. But back to like feeling, so one thing, I do look at other people's feeds. I don't, it's not like I'm like, never look. I will look them up if I'm thinking about them and look at their work, or, I just don't let it like come at me. I control what I see a little more.
Right.
But the one thing I have started doing, like if I feel like someone has it all together, and this is something I did yesterday, there's a designer in Nashville, and I know we all have struggles, but her name's April Tomlin. And she just seems to her team just seems to run on all, whatever the phrase is. Like, she just seems like a well-oiled machine. Right. And so I was like, I know someone who works in her office who's, in charge of her business in a way. And I was like, just called her and I'm like, can you just tell me something, tips, whatever, because you may not, but like, it seems like you do. And instead of just like sitting back and being jealous, I'm like, I'll ask the questions. I mean, people cannot answer them, but
right.
I think Instagram can be great in that way, because it does give you like a direct access to people, whether they respond or not. I mean, people are so busy. It's not,
right.
I don't respond to people all the time. Sorry, but it's like a lot of inbox stuff, but it's someone you kind of know and you respect. I think it's just such a neat platform to be able to like have their contact information.
No, I agree. I slide into a lot of people's DMs, and then I'm like, okay, I need you on my podcast, because people, here's a friend. Hi.
This is Georgie.
Hi, Georgie.
Say hi.
You want to say hi to the people?
Can you show him your bubble braid? She did her own hair this morning. She did. Isn't that amazing? I didn't
look at fancy.
Okay, you go to my office. You can play. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's fine. Listen, you're a mom. I get it. Okay, let me just fangirl a minute about the whole home project. Your kitchen was fire. I absolutely love it. And I have to say, I have my grandparents and everybody else in my family. My parents were born up here. We're from the South.
Okay.
So I completely get your sensibility. And when you said dirty kitchen, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what she's going to do.
It was a fancy dirty kitchen. Paul Grothouse definitely like brought his A game, but I really like Carisha Swanson put all the whole team together. And I really, it's her kind of willingness to let us do our thing. I feel like that allowed the kitchen to be what it was. And it was fun. It was a really fun opportunity.
No, and my friends are Toledo Geller. So I was cracking it. Yes, Virginia's my girl. So, and Jessica, it was funny to hear their take on doing the whole home, and Tyler, and then watching how you spoke to him. You're like, all right, bye.
We were like brother and sister. Yeah, we were like brother and sister. And I think it made some people uncomfortable because we had such a weird camaraderie, but like he literally embodies like every Southern contractor for good or bad.
Right.
So I got his number, and I think some people from other cities were a little like, what is this guy? I'm like, oh, he literally is like half of my job sites are this personality. But he was fun. He did well on camera and stuff. They kind of brought his personality out.
Yeah, it was funny to see him. Yeah, I don't like yellow. I don't like purple. No, I don't. What was it? He didn't like the color the woman was doing in the living room. He's like, I don't know about that. I really want all brick. And Virginia was like, he's married to a lot of brick because it's Texas, but you know, you can do other things. It was just very funny to watch each individual talk about their space with him. When you got the call from Carisha, I was assuming it's Carisha, she's a dear friend of mine. Were you excited or were you like, wait, what?
No, I was nervous. This is a true story. I should not, I'm just going to share it, even though I will regret it when we sign off. But yeah.
No, you won't. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
So when they called, I was like, someone must have quit, because it wasn't very ahead of time. Like, I was kind of like 6 months, I think, before install. And I was like, how are people even getting furniture? So I assumed everyone started 6 months before I was asked to do it. Later found out that they did ask me first, but also, yeah, I've honestly sent work to House Beautiful that like they haven't responded to. So I was like, they hate me. Like, and I know it's like a huge inbox. I have been in the magazine before, but that's just how like designers' brains, or at least mine does, with like, you get so excited about something, you send it. And I was like, I just thought it wasn't real. I was like, they're not really asking me to do this. And then once it all kind of, I don't know when I finally was like, okay, this is actually real. I'm doing this. It was super exciting. Like they're just, you know, such a reputable, like awesome magazine. And anyway, it was fun. It was really fun.
What was the best part about doing the project? Because your kitchen, if you all haven't seen it yet, you should just really sign on to House Beautiful. Go to their, I think it's their lives, their reels or their lives, whatever it is, and you'll see it. It is stunning. It is, and I said to my husband, that's a Southern kitchen. Like that's how Southern people think. And I was like, thank God. I thought I was the only one who didn't like an island. I like a table in the kitchen. I'm like, I don't want to hike up on a chair and like lean over or try to sit and get comfortable. I was like, an island is not comfortable to me. It's horrible.
It's functional, and we do plenty of kitchens with islands. But when I was so my grandmother passed away year before last, and we were close. I loved being at her house and in her kitchen, and she had a kitchen table in the middle of the kitchen. And to say we like sat and spent life there would be an understatement. Like so many memories are sitting at that table. And when I reflect on my own home and the fact that like my children all face one direction when they're eating their cereal or whatever, and I'm standing on the other side just to talk to them, we don't have those like 2-hour breakfasts because it's uncomfortable. So I threw that out, and Tyler definitely pushed back like he told on the thing. But it was fun to win. They also let me kind of carve in. Emily and I, our dividing wall was shifted a little bit. Her space was still huge. Initially, the dining room was supposed to be in with her space. And I absorbed that. So then she had this like huge living space. So they let us do that, which was it was just fun. I mean, there are some things that I've pointed out that like Tyler just did on his own that were not.
Like the light fixture all the way up.
I walked in and I was like, don't cry. Like, I don't cry that often, but like, if I'm really passionate about a project, I can just get overwhelmed and like, But I walked in and I was like, can those be moved? And they were like, no, we've already cut a hole in the cabinet. And I was like, and like, anyway, I found art to go underneath it, and it turned out fine. I feel like things just kind of worked out.
Yeah. Like you don't notice it because of how you fix it. Yeah. And it was just really amazing. And I was like, okay, can I tell you, I love the idea of, what is it? The faucet for the dog bowl. That is amazing and brilliant, because I have 3 dogs. So I'm always spilling water across my kitchen floor. And I was like, when we do this kitchen over, that needs to be done.
A pot filler. It's a great idea. It's not my original idea. I'm sure I saw an image, but I wish I had a pot filler for my dog as well.
Yes. So let's talk about some of your projects. What are you currently working on, and what are you excited about? Can we talk about Boston and that crane situation you had going on?
Every city designer is probably like, yeah, that's how it is. But I think most of my following is in the South now. But yeah, that's how you have to do it. Those apartments were not made for modern furniture at all. But yeah, it's funny. You just have to visit. I love Boston. I really do. But I have a client who moved here from Boston, and she always jokes. She's like, yeah, you pay like $1 million to live in squalor. And I'm like, you kind of do. Like, it's
Yes.
not like, and this apartment was beautiful, but I mean, it's your dollar goes further in the South, obviously. People are like,
Absolutely.
I bought a mansion. I'm like, you don't
Yeah.
need a house that big. But so yeah, we just got back from an install in Boston. I am really excited. I'm working on it's a hotel outside of Knoxville in a town called Maryville. It's called RT Lodge. I think they're rebranding and just calling it The Lodge, but it's a very, like, people have been going there for years and years and years, and like the community loves it. So it's a little like, oh no, they're changing it. So I'm really honored that they like let me be a part of that. One of my friends from college is part owner of it now. So that's how we got on board with that. But I'm excited about that. Just some houses that we're finally wrapping up that we started during COVID that we're hoping to install.
So you're wrapping it up. Must be nice. What is that like? I'm still waiting for half of my stuff to come in.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's not like it used to be where you can just install everything and at the same time. We're going to, it's like most of the furniture will be here, but you're going to have to wait on your dining table until like next May or something,
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, I ordered a light fixture for the living room. We're doing this over a Schumacher. We'll shoot it next month, and the light fixture will be in June of next year. So now I have to get a different light fixture. Yeah. And I was like, please make sure this is in stock. I have to do a shoot, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything. Like we bought a little lake shack. Like, it's the scariest little structure. We joke that it's something you would take someone to like hide them when you kidnap them, but it's we want to renovate it, but and I've reached out to people to do like partnerships and stuff like that. I learned that through the show house, like how you can work with vendors and advertise that way. And anyways, renovating, and I would like to use Marvin windows, but I looked them up and they have it's like they wouldn't even be in until the summer, and I'm like, I want to live there this summer. So everything is just it's crazy, but it's nobody's fault. It's just the way the world is. So if any of my clients are watching, it's nobody's fault.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. I had a new client that I'm signing on. She's moving to Cambridge, Massachusetts. And she's like, oh, I want everything done, like, as soon as possible. And I was like, okay, that's not going to happen. Have you watched the news? I'm like, all the ships are out, just hanging out on the water, waiting to come in. And I said, just to give you an idea, I had a client, I ordered a custom front door last July. We just installed it this past August.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, nothing is happening. Another neighbor who moved in, gutted her kitchen. I was like, do not throw out your stove. Thankfully she didn't, because the stove she wanted, and she wanted to do a color, like they offer colors with KitchenAid. I said, you can't get it. She's like, yes, whoever she's dealing with, I think it's like Lowe's. Oh, we can get it. I was like, they cannot get it. I'm telling you. So I call my person and they're like, tell her they're not doing any colors for at least a year, because we're just trying to get the basics in right now. So they halted all the colors. And when I told her, she was like, oh my God.
It's
like,
awful.
yeah.
Yes. It's heartbreaking because people spent so much time at home last year. So they've thought about home and they've made the commitment to like change it or better it or whatever. And now that everyone's like amped up, they've saved their money. It's like, you can't, it's like when you go shopping for an outfit and it's not there. It's not there. That's the current interior design world right now. Like, you're going to the party, you know what you want, and you can't buy it.
Yeah. No, people are like, hello. So let's talk about scaling your business. When did you decide, one, that you needed other people? And then two, how did you go about getting them, building your team?
So I had a really soft entry to being an employer, because my first hire was someone I went to college with. She approached me. We did part-time at first, because every business owner, you're like, I can't afford it. I can't afford help. You can't afford help. Like, you don't realize, but it just allows your business to further grow. Again, I do not have a business background. Like, I am a straight, I should be a senior
Most designers don't. Most designers don't. So we're all in the same. Look, someone has a question, because look, they already know. But go ahead, finish telling us, and I'll look at the question.
I hired this designer. She's in Nashville. She started her own firm named Martha Fox, and she was great. We went to college together. And so that kind of curve you go through with most people about learning their ways, learning what they know that you don't, and vice versa. We didn't have to go through that, because we went to the same school and worked at the same firm. So it was super easy. And I didn't realize what a blessing that was. And then my second hire was a bookkeeper. I was ready to quit. I was like, I hate this bookkeeping stuff. Like I'm surprised I didn't get audited. And so Martha came and like dug me out of a hole and got my books straight and clean. And those were my first two. And they both worked with me for, I think, a little over 2 years. And then basically we've just had, ebbs and flows of they started their own companies and so they left. But I'm still figuring it out. I have right now our kind of lineup. We have me, we have Jessica, who's a mid-level designer. We just hired Micah, who's a junior designer. Mm-hmm. We have Carol, who's manning up like the ordering, proposals, tracking, all that stuff. And then
that person is golden. That's a golden.
Exactly. That's the part I just want to let go. Yes. And then we have a bookkeeper that does all the reconciliation and stuff like that. So,
which is also golden. Before this call here, I was on with my bookkeeper and I was like, okay, what do I need? And she's like, why do you keep worrying about that? I was like, I just want to make sure I'm not going to owe like $100,000 next year. Like I said, that makes me panic.
Oh yeah. I've had those years where like, I didn't realize I was supposed to pay in quarterly and owe the government like $70,000 in taxes.
Exactly. And that's what I said to her. I was like, so can we just like get this settled now? I mean, I have the money aside, but if I can just pay this, I'll feel much better because I don't want to.
Oh yeah. And you never know as an interior designer what money's yours. At least I don't. I know you can run reports that, we get so many deposits and there's so much furniture in flux. So to look at your bank account and be like, there's that much money in there. You don't know is like that the company's money, or people are probably listening like, you need to run more reports. I should run more reports, but that's just something I haven't. It's time. I feel like there's only so much time. So we're figuring it out.
Nope. I let my person run the reports. I use a studio designer. And I let her run all the reports. And then I have all the accounts set up. What is clients, what needs, the operation, what is taxes, because this way I put the money where it belongs. So this way I know what is mine. And then I still don't touch what is mine because I'm freaking out just in case. Yeah. It's like, no, that's owed for taxes. And I'll be like, what? So yeah, I think people think design is just pretty things and they really don't understand how much the business really sucks up everything else.
Exactly. I emailed a friend, Erica Powell, when I very first started my company. And I was like, I want to do this on my own. She was like, just so you know, it's 80% business and 20% design. And I was like, that's probably not true. And now I'm like, it is totally true. And some of it's fun. I love like getting new work and interviewing for projects. Like I feel like that taps into my personality and just kind of my natural gifts. And of course I love design, but a lot of the other business stuff, I'm just like, I don't want to do that,
Yeah, it's a lot. And then on top of marketing and making sure like you're getting out there and that your projects are being shot, I'm exhausted just talking about it. So here's a question. She said, they're saying, I have recently gone out on my own and biggest struggle is learning how to schedule and time projects, especially now with extended times on everything. How do you decide how many projects to take on, when to start them, and how to balance projects that aren't wrapped up yet with ones that are starting and crazy?
Gail, I feel like that's like $1 million question, right? Like,
I know, right?
I want to know. I do not have that down. One thing I have started doing is trying to take more typical projects so that I understand the schedule. I think when you're starting out, you do a lot of like, I'll do your bath, I will do your bedroom, I will do whatever. With full homes or new construction, there is a schedule, right? Like, the contractor is going to need all the plumbing this day and so on and so on. So I can look at the contractor schedule and base my workload on the construction schedule. But there are delays. I really don't have it down for that. But I do know when I start feeling like I just start telling people 6 months ahead, I'm like, I'm not taking any work until 6 months. And
no, that's real.
So far that's worked out. We haven't hit any lulls where I'm like, ooh, I should have taken some more work, but the right clients will wait. And then, those who are in a hurry weren't for you anyway, because you didn't have the time.
Well, I mean, really, there's nowhere to hurry right now because nothing is in stock. Nothing isn't anywhere, but you do have to figure out the projects and also like the scale of them. How big are they and how small are they? If it's a small one, how quickly can you move through that if this was regular normal times? And then if it's a big one, you really have to think big picture and like how long it's going to take and what it takes to make it move through. The person that you worked for in Boston, did they just used to hire people when they needed them? And then when jobs were done, how did that work? Because that's kind of genius.
So it was hectic. It made us all like, you made friends with so many random people because we were just literally like day laborers in a way. But yeah, he staffed up and then he would let everyone go once the project's over. We don't do that, but we definitely run like a looser operation. So everyone's not like, you must be here 40 hours a week. You know, I hire people that have different availabilities that are not standard, because I don't know who said it was like 40 hours, 5 days a week, but that to me just feels so like suffocating as a person.
You said 5 days. I'm like,
yeah, I don't think that's the rules. I just think it's like getting the work done. So
right.
Mapping out what your needs are and then filling in with who you have. I mean, we have set hours, but if you, like one girl just went to California for a wedding, like she's, going to take off today and tomorrow, and that's fine. We just know that we're covered. She was in Boston, right. So she paid it forward.
Okay, nice. Here's another question. It says, how has your experience with the expert been, and are you currently taking projects through that? Oh, you're with the expert?
Yeah.
Oh, girl. Okay. So how is that?
Yeah, I like it. If Harry is watching this, I don't know if Harry's his real name, but he's probably like about to fire me because I keep having to reschedule. I was doing that on Saturday mornings because honestly, in the middle of the week, it just feels like too much to take on that. So I was doing them Saturday mornings in the summer and it worked really great. And now my kids do sports and it's been hard, but I like it. I love, like being on a fast timeline and working fast. If anybody's listening, that's a client, it would go a lot better if people prepared up front. And I think there could be some education on that, but measuring your kitchen layout before we get on the phone, stuff like that. It is hard sometimes to design just like, this is my kitchen. And you're like, what is the dimension? And they're like, I don't have a tape measure. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try, but like, this might not be okay. But it's fun. And I like that you hang up, no phone calls after, it's just an hour.
No, and it's good. That's what my consultations are. I'm like, nope, wrap it up. I know when it's about to end. I answered your questions. We're good. I walk out. And it's just easier. That's a great experience because Jake started that in COVID because everyone became frantic. Yeah, I have a couple of friends that are on the expert and they really love it. They're like, it's just fun. They've met some amazing people. And I was like, but how do you handle it when people try to contact you? Because now they have your information. And she's like, they don't. Like she said, you just push them right back to the expert where they have to schedule another call.
Yeah, I have been called and it is a little uncomfortable, but we try to say in the meetings, like, we have a minimum, we have a, minimum hours for a project, minimum budget. So it's usually clients that just don't meet that. And so but yeah, I wish I could help everyone like do follow-ups and stuff, but the beauty of it is 1 hour and you get all the things you can come up with in 1 hour.
No, that's cool. Let me see. There's another question. Can you talk about your relationship with contractors and architects? Who is in charge when there's so many cooks in the kitchen? The designer.
Moving back to the South was definitely kind of like an experience, and kind of I've mentioned with Tyler in the show house and me understanding Texas contractors in a way, who's in charge. So I can come in with my guns blazing, especially on the architects, because I do love interior architecture. I do want to do the kitchens and the baths, and some architects feel strongly about keeping that in their wheelhouse. So we have that conversation up front. I'm not a designer who's going to work on a project that the architect does all the interior architecture and then I just decorate it. It was like,
no, I'm with you.
Yeah. So we kind of divide the tasks from the beginning and make sure we're all on the same page. But as far as who's in charge, I think approaching it with as much humility as possible, like respecting that they do, an architect yesterday replied back to a mass email I sent about a lighting plan. And she was like, I think you need 3 more lights here. And that was okay. Like I could have been like, I'm the lighting.
Right.
But it's just kind of accepting that like, this is your team. You want people to work together. You want people to feel good about being able to approach you with the best contractors like you enough that they'll call you without the client and be like, hey, I think this is not what you meant. And so coming in kind of with your guns blazing, like, I'm the boss, everyone listen to me, it just never fares well. So
Right. No, it's funny because I have a friend who will be closing on her house in a couple of weeks, and she asked me to stop by and just see, because she was walking through with this potential contractor that she's not going to move forward with. Because I had so many questions. I'm like, how can he tell you where to move walls and it's your house? Like, that's between the architect and me. And he heard me say that, and he goes, oh, an architect? No, this is going to cost a lot if you use an architect. He's like, you don't need that. You can work with me. And when he finally left, I was like, an architect and an interior designer work hand in hand together. Like, we balance each other out. And that's what you need to make sure your house flows. He can't give you a solid number on what it costs to do this house because he needs a drawing packet in order to understand that. And she's like, oh, I was like, yes. So it's not get the designer last. It's I said, I have an architect on my team. We come together. This is how much we'll charge. This is what we do. This is what you can expect. And she was like, oh, but dude, called her later and gave her like some outrageous number. And I was like, he doesn't know. Like, his guy was in there, and the primary bedroom had all these windows in the sitting room. And the guy goes, we'll take out all the windows and just give you 2. So this way you can hang art.
I
was like, what?
Yeah. The client needs to hire, I think the contractor should definitely come last. And I think the architect and the designer should kind of be present in that decision, just because it is such a, and just like the architect and the designer should meet before they jump in a project together. Yeah. I think clients unintentionally put some awkward scenarios together without understanding that. And they, I have a client right now that it's every time the contractor talks, we're like rolling our eyes together, and it's kind of fun because we're on the same team, but at the same time, it would have been more fun if the contractor were a little more on the same train of thought,
Right. No. Elizabeth, thank you, Elizabeth. She says, what spaces, and I want to know this, what spaces are your favorite to design? Kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, etc. I feel like kitchen for you, no?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Kitchen is like the most architectural room, like architectural interiors room that you can do. I feel like as an interior designer, it's like its own small town. I love a kitchen renovation, small, large, whatever. I just think it's so much fun to like rethink that kind of major, it's like a cockpit of like function, but then it's also beautiful. So I love a kitchen.
Okay. For designers starting out, what's the best way to find unique furniture lines to use in projects?
Go to market. We go to High Point once a year. It's the best way to kind of sit in. You're going to have to tell your clients what's comfortable without having a showroom, probably, if you're new. So sitting in things and realizing like, oh, that looks pretty online, but it sits awful. Stuff like that is super helpful. And then we also use a lot of First Dibs and Cherish to find like truly unique different pieces and have them reupholstered or reworked.
Do you have a design center near you, or no, you just go to High Point?
We go to Atlanta, so ADAC is our closest, but it's still not as, it doesn't have everything there that we could see at High Point. So
okay. And do you do any antiquing on your own?
I do, yes. Some of my dear friends own an antique shop in Nashville called Patina & Company, and they've let me tag along once on a buying trip, and then I've not done anything out of the country. I tried to do one in September, and I just got like logistically overwhelmed dealing with customs. So I would like to do that, but I also don't. It seems like so much schlepping. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in the United States I feel like I can find here.
You're good. So before we go, let the people know where they can follow you, your Instagram, your website, all the beautiful things.
It's just Sabbe Interior Design. Don't be offended if I don't follow you back. It's my own issues, not you. and that's cool. The same. We have SabbeInteriorDesign.com is the website, and it's very outdated. So probably look at the Instagram. Has anyone updated their work during COVID? I've like not shot anything. So I'm super behind.
Well, it's funny. I did have a shoot that my stuff, that's what Elle Decor just published. So now I'm able to put it up on my website, but I've only had one, and it's wild because that household did have COVID like 3 months before, and I was panicked.
Uh-huh.
But then everybody left the house and they were staying away for a while. They had went to Florida. I was like, why are people traveling so much during COVID? But they had left. And so I was able to shoot my space without everybody being there, just me and the photographer, and it worked out. And, but they also have a staff that can clean down the house. So, wipe it all down and make it good. But yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm excited. And hopefully next year I'll shoot what I'm trying to get done now, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get there one year. I don't know. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate this. And people, don't forget to follow her. She's really amazing. And thank you for taking the time. And now I'll release you back to your daughter.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Bye, everyone. Thank you.